because we're around here. Ah, so welcome in this side of the world.
Thank you.
It's the first time.
It is the first time. I've said this a few times today, alone, that Switzerland's been very high on my bucket list. I think
Uh-huh.
it's like the number one to number two country I've wanted to visit in the world.
Okay, interesting. Special
So
reason?
I just the beauty. I mean, I did a Google search with images of Switzerland, and the photos that come up look like straight out of a fantasy magazine of the most beautiful, incredible scenery.
Mm.
Um, the food's been really good. The people have been so kind. It's been the most amazing week. I feel like I'm gonna go home and like digress and spend a week of just all the different memories and moments and experiences I've had in the last 7 days.
If you bring with you something to cherish, why not?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna bring home some chocolate.
I hope loads of
Yeah,
them.
and I was gonna bring chocolate covered macadamia nuts from Hawaii, which is our sort of signature um thing here. And then I was like, you know what, I can't bring any chocolate to Switzerland.
Mm,
So I brought
mm,
coffee.
So I will, in my article, I
Yep.
will write something about how you started and
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
And when I was researching you, I had some like personal questions that I want to ask you that maybe you've been asked before, but
Yeah. I'll just.
I didn't have the
Yeah.
chance
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to hear everything. And my first question is, what has been your main source of courage?
Oof, that's a great question. I would say, and I'm going to talk about this a little later today. It's not as much that I think I have courage. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I have a deep sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably not be here doing this interview. I probably should have died that morning on the beach. The ocean, even though it's taken a bit of me, has given me so much more in return. I just, there's a word in Hawaii called Kaua'i, responsibility, that
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's my responsibility for the amount of gifts and incredible experiences I've had in the sea, um, to give back in any way I can. So I wouldn't say like what I have is courage. And you could say my profession as a shark photographer, it's a bit unorthodox and it can be a bit dangerous. And sharks are, can be dangerous. But I just have a deep level of respect for the animals, and their importance for a healthy planet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a amazing, wonderful journey.
Mm-hmm. This kind of touches my next question and almost answers it. But what is the aspect of life that surprised you the most? The life itself, regardless
Yeah.
on your perspective, what is something from life that you are like mind blown? It's like makes you.
Now, just give me 1 second to think about this because I think something I've really noticed is we can be thrown challenges, we can be thrown obstacles, and at the time they could seem like, why me, or why is this difficult?
Mm,
And I've noticed in my journey that a lot of the things that can be difficult become beautiful. And I'm not just talking about like my shark attack itself, but just challenges of learning how to drive a vehicle with a prosthetic leg and building on that challenge, and you find a deep sense of satisfaction in accomplishing like little goals one step at a time, no
mm,
pun intended. um, but I think there's beauty in being comfortable being uncomfortable, and as an amputee, you kind of got to just roll with the punches. I walk on a prosthetic leg, and every step I take, the prosthetic can break. So it's every step is a gift in a way.
mm,
Every wave I catch, every shark I photograph, I do feel like I'm living on borrowed time. And I think you develop a sense of gratitude.
mhm.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
Thank you. I think the
Yeah.
the next question also touches. So if, I'm sorry that I have to
Yeah.
read it
That's
because I
okay.
want
No,
to be
no.
sure that
Yeah.
I'm asking the right way because
Yeah.
I took time to
Yeah. Yeah.
to to understand your entire
Yeah.
story. Is there a rule or a common belief about sharks or ocean safety that you always tempted to challenge or break?
Mm. Well, I mean, the narrative that we've been given our entire lives on sharks, starting before Steven Spielberg, that the only good shark is a dead shark. Um, I think, or I know that that's not true. And I've really seen that firsthand, spending a lot of time underwater with sharks, that the majority of time they just, like the shark, they just swim peacefully by. They're
Smiling.
smiling. Their, eyes aren't rolled back, their jaws aren't protruding from their mouth. Um,
Smiling.
Smiling. They just do what sharks do. Like my incident with a shark was 5 to 10 seconds, and in the lifespan of a shark, that's very little of how they spend their day. So that I think is a shift in narrative, and that's something that we've been told our entire lives, that they are man eaters, that they are monsters. You look at any headline of any shark attack in a publication, a newspaper, headline on the news, they're going to use monster, they're going to use man eater. I mean, more people have died from dog bites, so we don't call our dogs man eaters.
There are more cows attacks in
Yeah.
Switzerland than
Yes,
shark
sure.
in our world.
Yes, yes. And we don't call cows man eaters or
No,
monsters.
exactly.
So I would say that's a rule that I hope gets broken, and and not necessarily a rule, but I hope that's a mind shift, and I do see that, especially in the younger generation that didn't
Mhm.
grow up with Jaws.
Do you have any completely irrational fears? Considering
Yeah,
that?
fear's a height.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
was, at the top of Europe 2 days ago, and there's this walk where you're like along the edge, and there's a guardrail, and it's been tested for my weight and how many people in this, and I know it's strong, and I know that it's going to hold me, but I still feel like I'm going to fall down the mountain.
That's
Yeah,
yeah, that's I think you are more tight and related to water than
yeah, then I am. Yeah, yeah.
in your natural environment and completely
Completely in the mountains, and you're up high, and it's cold and
mm,
windy, and yeah.
mm. Do you have a fictional character or someone who identify like someone in something from childhood who you identify or feel
Wow, that's a great question.
mirrors in your in your personal journey? So you had some moments in life where you remember a special character that you feel like, oh, I do like this, or I have the same life like this one. Uh,
I've never been asked that question, and I
because
don't,
for
yeah,
me it was Gavroche from Les Miserables.
okay,
It was he inspired me as a kid.
yeah,
Didn't have the most the best life, but also not the worst.
yeah,
But
yeah.
reading that as a child impressed me so much that the courage to do what it's need to be done and to do it to be just right inspired me as a kid and remained always in the mind like, okay, he died not like a hero, but he's a hero. So that it's something
Oh,
that
yeah, no, I don't. I might have to come back to you and email you later on, and it'll come to me on my flight home tomorrow, but not off the top of my head. I can't.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's a
it's
great
it's
question,
it's
though. Yeah, it's so good.
it's okay.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you ask
Okay,
me
yeah.
just like this,
Yeah.
I will also be what are you sorry
Yeah, no.
about? So,
That's a good one, though. Yeah.
um, can you describe in detail a favorite sandwich or comfort food from your childhood or
Oh,
now?
yeah. So you guys got a similar meal, and I don't know what it's called in French. But we call it a loco moco, and your
Okay.
version is hash browns, and I had it up on the mountain. It's hash browns. I think it's like a shoulder of ham, real thin sliced, and
Hmm.
then an egg on top. We've got loco moco, Loco, and then Moco. It's white rice, and then it's a hamburger patty.
Hmm.
It's gravy on top of that,
Okay.
and then it's an egg on top, fried egg on top of that.
Oh, interesting.
And I mean, it's as comfort food. It's a local comfort food. Not the healthiest.
I have to try that.
Loco moco,
Yeah.
white rice, hamburger patty, gravy, egg, or
I,
maybe egg gravy on top of all of it. But sometimes the gravy and then the egg on top,
mm,
and then people put maybe Tabasco sauce
oh,
on top of that for a little spice. Yeah,
cool.
loco moco.
I could eat French fries three
Mm,
times per day,
yeah,
7 times per week.
week. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
French fry,
yeah,
always working.
yeah,
Comfort food, hunger, not hunger, whatever. French fries are
yeah,
always working
yeah,
for me.
yeah. What about fondue? Is that a comfort food? Would you call that a
What?
fondue?
Fondue?
Yeah.
Not a comfort food because it's a very nice thing to a nice dish to have with friends.
Yep.
So it's not something you can do alone.
Alone, yeah.
Okay, maybe with your wife would be nice, that
Yeah.
a glass of wine to spend the evening together because it takes time and so on. For me, fondue is something that it's very social, and you need to have a lot of laugh, to laugh a lot, to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
fun with
yeah.
friends. Uh, I I think I hope you had this
Yeah,
fondue.
I
Did
did.
it
I
come
had it.
fun?
Yeah, I did.
Because it goes great with wine.
Yeah, we
At
had
some point,
white wine. Yes, yeah.
so at some point, everyone is just relaxed,
Yeah.
full tummy,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
is great. You
Yeah.
still stick a piece of
I
bread in it
know. I've
because
never, that was my first time. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Wow, good questions.
Thank you. Was there ever an alternate path or career you almost pursue that would have changed your life?
Prior to the shark attack, I wanted to make
Not
a
not
living.
necessarily
Yeah,
not necessarily put that day in water, but I mean in
yeah.
general.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be an airline pilot.
Cool.
Yeah, I was fascinated about planes. I even I wanted to be like an astronaut as well. I went to a space camp in Alabama. And then after the attack, I worked at a surf shop for a day. It was my first job post shark attack, and I had a really bad fitting prosthetic, and my leg got infected where I had to go to the hospital and get it drained open, and I think I was that kind of a defining moment of I need to figure out a different career path in a way because the island I live on is very tourism based. 90% of all jobs are in the visitor industry, and you're on your feet all the time. And when I first had my prosthetic, I had the worst limp, and I couldn't be on my feet all day. And then that's kind of what got me thinking about my career as a photographer. I had fiddled around with camera gear and taking pictures of my friends, and my parents were really supportive and encouraged me to go to art school to study photography, and it was a decision that I'm glad I did. Yeah. And there are times I won't lie, like I'm wishing that I would have studied biology and I knew more about the science of sharks. And a lot of times, to be an authority in a subject like sharks, not so much being a photographer, but being a biologist throws a lot of weight behind it. Um, I'll tell biologists that, and they're like, well, just as powerful as storytelling. They have a hard time sharing their data and explaining it. A lot of them are very science minded. And what I hope maybe is I can bridge a gap using art to share a lot of the importance of the work that they're trying to do.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
yeah,
And be
yeah,
the
yeah,
bridge to be the
yeah,
bridge
that's
to
very important.
and what they do in that science is so invaluable, and things like policy change with sharks, you need data sets, so you need scientists, and there's an incredible amount of wealth and knowledge, and like sharks are such unknown subjects. The great white, for example, we've never seen a great white give birth or mate. In 2025, it's never been documented. Everybody's got phones, they got drones, they got tagging. There's so many mysteries of the sea that have yet to be unlocked. And a lot of this is newer science, and it's because of these biologists that we're learning how old great whites live, where they go, so we can create protections for them as a integral part of the health of our oceans. I think that's really important. So I would say maybe a biologist in my later life.
But from my perspective, you not having like this knowledge, it's also an advantage because this makes you genuinely from instinct explore some things that having the professional mind of biologist will block you or push you to do something else.
Shift the narrative. Maybe the curiosity wouldn't be so strong.
Exactly. In this way, I think it's more natural for you to be, and we also need someone who understands a little bit, but it's not in the domain that can tell a story. So the storytelling is as much important for as the data, because data is important, of course, but for the public, they cannot tell the story. You are the one who can tell the story. So we need this bridge that you are building so we can understand what's going on. And because you understand some things and you have a natural instinct of doing it, I think it's at least for us in this moment better than for you being
a biologist
studying sharks, because in the best case we have seen some episode of Shark Week on the National Geographic, and that's it. But in this way you have the chance to narrate a more complex story than just pushing maybe in a nice way some data.
And there's a bit of I would say like and in general with, and I was talking about this yesterday, but with wildlife photography ethics and especially shark photography,
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to just share and continue that narrative of a shark with its jaws open. And you share on social media, you're going to get so much more likes, views, reposts of a crazy, scary, ripping something apart
Mm-hmm.
video clip, but that really doesn't do anything for the shark. It doesn't do anything for getting people more curious about that animal than what they already think in their perceptions of it's a man eater and it's a beast.
Yeah, it's simply lying because that's a very small
Small,
part from the
yeah,
life of
of a shark.
you
Yeah.
don't know the family, you don't know the love, you
Hmm.
don't know the
Yeah,
rest of
yeah,
the things.
yeah,
It's like showing you eating whatever, could be from other species, could be
yeah,
like, oh my
yeah,
God,
yeah,
he's eating that, oh
yeah,
what a
yeah,
beast, what a
yeah,
monster, as
yeah,
you said. But the rest of the life, the beauty of
yeah,
the life, it's something that it's very
yeah,
less shown,
yeah,
and that's the most part. I mean, feeding is feeding, regarding
mhm,
of species.
yeah,
It's gruesome, it's nasty, it's the things that we need to do
yeah,
to go further, but the rest of the life is
yeah.
kind of
And,
beautiful.
and that's really that kind of that narrative that I hope my work does is show the rest of that life and show
Hmm.
the beauty and show the personality and show the intelligence of these animals.
Hmm. Do you consider yourself a more of a party animal or a lone wolf?
A lone wolf for
A
sure.
lone
A
wolf.
lone wolf for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, alone. Yeah,
Mhm.
you need to be there
Yeah,
alone with the
and
sharks and.
yep, yep. And I'm a bit of an introvert, and I enjoy time by myself, and I
Mhm.
don't like staying up really late. Yeah, and I like early mornings. And, yeah.
What is something meaningful from your Hawaiian family heritage or upbringing that you hope to preserve and pass on to future generations?
Oh, these are really good questions.
Thank you.
I have a wonderful family. They're very supportive and
Mm-hmm.
really strong sense of community in my family. Like everybody kind of watches out for everybody. We always make time to get together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a couple times a week as a kid, it was having dinner at a relative's house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that that support system is very important. Um, a lot of times we struggle in day-to-day things, and to have and to know that your family's got your back and that they love you unconditionally. I think that's everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would be that sense of, and not even community, but just sense of love with the people that you're closest to.
Mm-hmm. And the
Great
final
question.
question for you is, what is something that all of us can do to protect not only sharks, but oceans and marine life? And I mean,
Yep.
for us, the guys staying at the desk
Mhm.
most of the day, what is something that we really can do to have as little impact as possible, but still doing something?
Um, the biggest issues that sharks are facing is the consumption of shark fin soup where they cut the fins off, but
Hmm.
also as a bycatch for the commercial fishing industry.
Yeah.
So I would say number one is don't eat shark fin soup, but number two is use your purchasing power and use when you go to buy seafood at a restaurant to ask questions of where it came from. Not
Hmm.
all types of fishing is the
That's
same.
a good,
Yeah,
that's a good
and
hint.
just ask those questions. And if you don't feel comfortable knowing where that fish comes from, don't buy it. And a lot of times there's a good chance that sharks are caught as bycatch in
Hmm.
long lines in nets, and that's a bycatch is a species that's unintended. So if they're trying to catch tuna and they kill a shark or they kill a seabird or they kill a turtle or a dolphin, that's bycatch, and it's the unintended consequences of that industry. So I would say just really be mindful of when you buy seafood where it's coming from.
Hmm.
I'm not saying don't eat seafood. Seafood's like the number one protein source I think in the world right now. But just be, you know, mindful and try to eat local. If you're in an area on a trip somewhere and they've, you know, got a lot of this species, try to eat that species.
Yeah.
And if you're across the world, you know that it's probably from an industrial commercial fishing operation if you're eating very far from the sea, something that's not nearby,
Hmm.
um, that it's gone through a lot of hands and it probably isn't the best practice.
Another thing that it's important for me and my wife, we decided that not to go in places that are endangered.
Hmm.
So in places where uh, like instance in Southeast Asia or around Australia. So you have corals and everything, which is dangerous because especially from tourists. So that are for us like, okay,
Yeah.
Saturday evening, put a nice documentary, view it in a huge 4K, 8K display, and
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Than spending 16 hours to be 2 hours in water and be
Mhm.
one of the crows that
Yeah.
is destroying the life.
Yeah.
So go see a nice church, a nice museum or something.
Yeah.
Go visit Paris, Wien, Rome, whatever.
Mhm.
See things built by human, and let the nature
Nature be
just
nature. Yeah.
nature
Little
be
hands
nature.
off. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you get certified by PADI, they're one of the main organization that certifies you for scuba divers. The very first thing you learn is not to touch anything underwater. Is hands off. And just only take pictures and not touch. Yeah.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you. Been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Yeah, that was great. Really good questions.